Welcome to Parkway Gardens, and thanks for viewing our gardening tips. The key element in planting any tree or shrub is this good soil preparation. That's going to do more to ensure the survival of the plant that you're putting in your garden than almost anything else. Dig the hole about 1.5 times larger than the actual root ball of the plant you're putting in the hole, and mix that soil that you've taken out with a bit of manure or compost to enrich it and create a bit of more of a nutrient-rich environment for the roots to grow into. Once you have your plant beside the hole, you need to ensure that the pot or the container that it's growing in is removed to the best of your ability. Plastic pots should come out quite easily and be completely removable. The simplest way to deal with the peat pot is to cut the bottom off and take a sharp, heavy knife and score the sides of the pot that allows the roots to eventually force their way through. The peat pots will eventually degrade and just turn into compost, but you want those roots initially, when they're coming out of the new growth, to get into the surrounding soil without the pot being a barrier. The third kind of container you'll see trees and shrubs arriving in are burlap and baled setups that often have a wire mesh surrounding the burlap and bale. You want to remove the wire mesh that's surrounding the B&B root ball and untie the burlap. Cut off any excess burlap that you can, and often you'll find that the roots are quite loose in the root bale, so you don't actually want to remove the burlap all the way, otherwise the entire soil will fall off the roots, which would harm the plant. Once you place your root bale in the hole, you want to ensure that the soil level of the root bale is exactly the same level as the surrounding ground. This is important because the plant will grow best if the roots are not above or below the grade surrounding the hole. The next step is to backfill the soil that you've amended with compost or manure back into the surrounding space between the edge of the root bale and the hole. Make sure you tamp that soil down firmly. You don't want to leave any air pockets in that soil. Any remaining air pockets in the soil will create a barrier to the roots' growth into the surrounding soil. If you find that you're placing your tree or shrub into heavy clay or very dense soils that don't drain easily, you may want to consider mounding the soil up just slightly above grade. This will ensure that any excess water will drain off quickly. On the other hand, if you have reasonably good drainage, friable loam or sandy soils, you may want to consider leaving a slight cavity at the top of the hole to allow water to collect around the root bale and drain straight into the root bale. Finally, one last thing to consider is if your tree is more than 200 centimeters or 6 feet tall, it's a good idea to stake that tree securely so that you prevent it from whipping back and forth and loosening the root bale in the soil.